Hey guys, how you doing? Today's video is gonna be about setter. But before we are getting to setters, I just want to introduce something that we are going to apply with them setters, which is called regular expression. Regular expression is a series of characters that define a pattern for searching a certain string or value. And why do we need that? Well, we want to make our setter to be able to recognize if the pattern of the string or value given by the end users is matching up the pattern that we want. Just give you an example, email address. As we understand, there is pattern on email address. So we want to create some patterns for email address with our email setter. So our email setter will be able to say, okay, that string or value you have given is not matching up the email address pattern. So I'm not going to do anything except you provide a valid email address. So this is the idea. So let's just get started coding. So the first one, I have to so the first one I have to define a email setter. Oh, by the way, I have already declared the email getter here, so we're gonna use it anyway. So the first step is set underscore email and bring self in, comma, new email. Okay, and then the first step, we're gonna define the pattern, and we're gonna use we're gonna import the built-in library, built-in regular expression library within Python. So we're gonna import read, stand for regular expression, and then within our email setter, we have to define the email address pattern first by er.compile and it brings in this email address pattern. Sorry, I don't have a lot of time to explain what's going on here, but simply speaking, the first set here is the username, and second set here is the email service provider like Gmail or Outlook, and the final part here is the com. So we have to, and then we have to assign this pattern to the p variable, and then we're gonna match up the pattern that we define here to with the new email address by p dot find or new email, and we have to assign these actions to a variable. And for match, and we can create some constraints for it by saying if n excuse me we do if the both match up, we do self the underscore email equal to new email, and we can return true. Otherwise, if they both not match, doesn't match, we do return false. Okay, that's our email setter. Then we can run it. We can test it. Let me just code. Let me just print the original email, and then we can print the result of email setter underscore email, and we can give a for example, if I change the username to still at email.com, and we can print again email. Okay, now run it. So our original email is edward@email.com, and the second step here, we set a new email address to replace the original one, and it returned true. That means it was successfully changed, and we print the email again to prove if the emails has been affected. So, well, the idea is right. And now we can test if we don't put a valid email address. So if only I get this at simple off, and we run it again and return false because the value that we passing is not matching up the email address pattern. So that's why I return false. And next things I want to talk about is excuse me, my voice is getting worse. I don't know why. The next things I want to talk about is the name setter. So, for example, if we want to set a new first names to replace the original one, we can do exactly the same thing. So first, let me create a first name setter. The new name. Okay, and then we can copy this structure here because it's exactly the same, except the pattern is different. So here is the name pattern. In this pattern, I just want to avoid our end user to enter some special character like this, or numeric value, because it's not named, right? So we want to avoid those characters. So it's why I create I define a the name pattern for the idea that I just mentioned, and we have to match it up with the new name, and we have to change the variable to first name and replace this name. Yes, it's been weird though. Okay, cool. Now, okay, let me just check. Okay, if not match up, then we can replace. Okay, we can try it out. First, let me just print a empty line, and we can copy the structure here, and we can change this to get first name, and we can change this to set underscore first name. Let me just change it to add, for example, and we can get first name again. So let me just run it. So it changed. The action was successfully done. The new names has replaced the original name. However, if I try to put some numeric value or special characters, if I run it, it returns false because these two characters not matching up the pattern that we want. So our name setter, our first name setter, refused to change. Okay, that's how we can do some constraints to our setter, and that's the purpose for our setter. I think that's enough for today. I'll see you next video. Thank you. Bye bye.